it starts.
Hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me at the time. Push me out of myself. You've got me at the time. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. You've got me at the time. You've got me at the time. Get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. Toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me at the time. Push me out of myself. You've got me at the time. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me at the
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and the eyes seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming, for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be why? Now that I need you, why?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Marvel Talk. I am, of course, OLED Ed Fries. All the way on the end over there is 2/3 at least of Andre C. And, of course, we have a special guest for this episode. Bleacher Report's own writer extraordinaire, interviewer extraordinaire, always getting those nice clips for all those wonderful people on Twitter that we all know and love in the wrestling space. Dr. Chris Mueller is here joining us. Thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. If I had known I was coming on a podcast that was fancy enough to have 3 intro videos, I would have worn a suit that you guys can't see.
Yes. Doc doesn't like to go on camera, so we do make these fun overlays. And I say overlays because
it's not a matter of not liking it. I broke the webcam on my laptop like a week after I bought it.
Well, that makes it even more important that you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm adding something in here on the top. Is Bobby joining us? No? Yes.
I don't know. He's in the room.
He's coming on. Oh, no, that's not the way I want to do it. Hold on.
No, put Bobby up top.
Yeah, I know, but so there's a problem. I have to do this, to do this, to do this. No, it still didn't work.
You just gotta switch them, dude. You just gotta pull and switch.
Oh yeah. No,
I'm
in the wrong setting. Hold on.
Just let me do
I promise. I'm good. I'm
there. I fixed it. I fixed it. I fixed it.
I was in the wrong setting.
You're always 2/3 of the way there.
That's normally him. Of course, everybody does know Ring Respect Radio Zone and the overlord of our local establishment itself, Bobby Money Munson. Bobby, have you seen the episode from tonight?
Overlord.
What's that? Sorry.
Have you seen tonight's episode?
Of course. Yes.
Okay.
Just got done watching it.
And what did everybody think? We'll start with Doc. We'll go to Bobby, and then Andre and I will give our thoughts.
Well, I've loved the whole show so far. This episode was no different. I think, like we were talking about before we started recording, it's crazy that it's like the cheapest thing Marvel has made, and yet it's one of the more fun things that they've done in a while. Like this coming off of Deadpool and Wolverine being so successful, I think is a good thing for Marvel because people are talking positively about it again.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Bobby?
I loved it. Once again, great episode. I will say I did prefer last week's episode just a touch more, but that's splitting hairs right there.
Metal man in you.
I know, it's splitting hairs, but no, I did love this.
You're a horror guy.
I know this one was more on horror. I got to give it its credit anyway. It was a great episode. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here, guys. It's a great show.
Andre?
Oh, dude. I loved it because again, it gave me those like 80s slasher vibes. Give me some Jason, any of those like sleepaway camp movies where people get murdered in the forest, anything like that. Dude, I'm literally looking at a Jason mask that my buddy made me just across the room. That's all I can think of right now, and just and I loved it. Just the setting. I'm with Bobby Little. I like the music version from last week just a little bit more, but not a single episode has disappointed me because everything is just so as hit so well. I'm sorry, STG. I was busy.
Plus, today's ending was just chef's kiss.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
We'll get there.
That.
No, yes, Ashton. I told everybody last night that we would keep them up to date on everything going on with Ashton and the hurricane.
Perfect.
So, yes, Ashton has power. Everybody is safe. It was just posted to Twitter, so I figured it was public knowledge. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware. So we'll just leave the ticker at the bottom in case anybody's curious.
But not safe from spoilers.
Nope,
She's
not
not
at all.
safe from spoilers.
Because she's here.
No, I really like this episode. I love the campy feel of a sleepover episode in anything. I think these are one of those things that the four of us grew up on television like this, with the things we grew up like Saved by the Bell and things like that. Like we all saw episodes where it was like a sleepover, so this kind of thing works perfectly fine.
Like, are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah.
It gave me kind of like, even though they were inside in this, it gave me that vibe a little bit.
Absolutely. And then we get, obvious The Exorcist, because I'm not a horror guy, so I can't tell you all of the different horror things they were pulling off of this episode. I did see the Exorcist portion in it. Everything else beyond that, I'm sure Bobby will be able to tell us in litany all the other things that we saw here tonight. But I love this episode from top to bottom, especially like Bobby said. I mean, that ending is just... They found a way to leave us on a cliffhanger because this is the first episode that nobody had seen. Because episode 4 was the end of the press screening. So
Well, I was literally going online looking for stuff, somebody talking about it, and every other episode, like last week. But literally, as soon as episode, I literally found stuff from multiple places who had seen it because they could drop their article right at 7:00. Right when the show came out. So I'm sitting there going, I can't, and then I realized, oh crap, the screeners are over. So I was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Nothing's out yet.
Yeah, we do appreciate Chris being here, Doc being here. It's so much fun to have friends to join us for these things, because this is the kind of episode that you want to talk about as soon as it's over with your friends. Mm-hmm. So I think it's great that we have a full house for this episode. So the episode starts, we're all relaxing. We're all getting, recovering from last week with Team being injured. Everybody's just kind of chilling. And we get the Salem 7 coming together, trying to find Agatha. and I know I saw a fox, a raven, a snake, and an owl. But I know I missed some beyond that. I don't know what insect form was in the way of them on the road when they were on the brooms.
Bees. I think it was bees. I thought it was bees. I think so. I could be wrong.
But no, I love the fact that we're still getting the Salem 7, that they're still chasing them down the Witch's Road. I think that's very interesting. I'm curious if they're doing their own little trials on the way, because that would be fun too. Even though it's the Salem 7, if they're doing their own little fun trials on the way, I think that would be a fun little twist. As to why,
we just get one episode of their trials.
Because why else would they be so far behind? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they're doing their own version of the Witch's Road trials.
Yeah, they did come through the portal, so they would have skipped the first first trial, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doc, what did you think of the beginning here with the Salem 7, with them getting on the brooms?
I thought that was fun because the broom is one of those stereotypical witch iconography kind of things that up until now it's just been completely avoided. And hearing them kind of be angry about how it's been portrayed in pop culture was a fun little rant. But yeah, I thought the little broom ride was cool. I thought all the stuff with the Salem 7 looked really good. And it was like very simple, classic kind of horror things, like the possession of Agatha later on. It was just very typical horror movie possession kind of stuff. They weren't trying to throw any kind of Marvel spin on it, you know?
Yeah, and Bobby, I mean, the horror expert, talking about the possession. Let's just go straight to you with this. What did you think of the game of the Ouija board and everything that involved with that?
I mean, you almost had to do one eventually that is going to involve a Ouija board. I mean, talking to the spirits and everything. It works very, very well in this case. Like, you know, you said it best. Probably an easiest reference in terms of possession movies is The Exorcist, at least the one that people most commonly refer to or know. But really, on any level, a lot of different possession movies that involve a Ouija board, or even, I mean, go as far as saying the movie Ouija itself, have these types of references in them. A lot of them start with somebody finding a Ouija board and opening up some sort of spirit or spirit realm that then leads to the possession of them as well too. So a lot of nods to those types of classics, but The Exorcist being the one kind of heavily referenced, if anything, in here.
One of the things Doc talked about it a little bit with the with, you know, them talking about the pop culture of the brooms. I did love that Lilia gets to have this little rant where she's ranting about how brooms are, you know, so stereotypical. And we're going to see her as Glenda the Good Witch. And this isn't a spoiler. These are things that Marvel's already shown us and told us. There are already pictures out there of it. We're going to get Glenda as a good witch. Lilia as Glenda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz in one of these episodes. I think that was a lot of fun. I love the fact that Teen got his own broom. Like, he was all excited to get his own broom from Alice, which will come back to play later on into the ending of this episode. I think was really, really smart job by the storytelling. And again, we've been praising the writing and the storytelling of this show to be able to make sure that they make Alice a focal point for one person and one person only in this episode, and that's Teen.
Well, again, them doing the spell together kind of bonds him a little more with her. Because, again, he has been very bonded to Agatha for the first 4 episodes. Very much all about Team Agatha. But here, it shows him starting to find friendship, find find companionship with these other people and kinship with these other people. I think is more or less what I mean. And just to see that, and just he's like, how do I do this? As everybody's jumping on the brooms and flying away. I loved it. And then we're talking about the Ouija board. Like, who of us has not used a Ouija board? That, at least it comes from our generation, or maybe a little after, but like, we all used one at some point, at some sleepover somewhere or some party somewhere. A Ouija board came out. It had to have.
Yeah. Is it just me, or did the witches on the broom kind of give E.T. vibes as they're going over the blood red moon? Was it just me that got the E.T. vibe? Of all the kids on their bicycles flying over the air? So the Salem 7 is coming. They get on their brooms. They go ahead and start flying down the road. Then they realize that they're going to get caught, so they try to go over the road, where they get that great shot. They get pulled back down to the bottom of the road. They go through the insect of the Salem 7, which was fun. And I liked how even when they got into the house, as they're running into the house and they slam the door, you can see people like shaking the out of there. I'm like, good. They're keeping with that. It wasn't just, here's a cool visual shot. We get inside, everybody forgets.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really good that they continued that on into the next shot. And of course, this is your 80s, Silver Lake camp, house kind of vibe of, somebody's, cabin in the woods kind of thing. I love the whole vibe of this. As we can see in the overlay, you've got the team here rocking the red, white, and bluish purple in the bandana, obviously portraying what we talked about last week in the Funko Pops, that he is indeed Wiccan. Just more confirmation that he is Wiccan. We'll get more of it in a little bit, but really good stuff here. Andre, what else did you have here with the actual game of Ouija? And was there anything in that you caught that was kind of fun?
Well, I liked the little point where they first get in there and they're talking about, and they look at the moon. It's a blood red moon. It's easily the least amount of resistance from the talking to the dead, and then I can't remember who says, "Well, wouldn't it be you talking to Lilia?" And thinking, because again, she's like, "No. I just I read people, but the whole talking to the dead thing was complete bullshit." I love that little. Like her just saying that it was complete bullshit. That's all good. And I just love that little line. And then finding the Ouija board and him reading the rules and people just like, that's not in there. Just so good. It was so good, man. It was great stuff.
The first person they talk to through the Ouija board is Mrs. Hart. And Agatha does
Mrs. Hart.
There's a real bad interpretation of Mrs. Hart, which I thought was hilarious, fun. Though. Oh, absolutely, it was great. It was because at times I'm like, did they get her back to do the voice over, like dub over Agatha, or did they just have Agatha just be like, here, do your best Kitty Foreman impression? Like, it was just really good and interesting. And then, of course, we find out that Death is here. And as we talked about last week in the spoiler section, we now know that Rio Vidal is apparently portraying Death in this show. And I'm like, interesting that Death would be here now.
I expected her to kind of make a comment, but she really stayed quiet.
She did. Her eyes lit up when she saw Death, which I thought was real fun. But we continue. Death says that it wants to punish Agatha. And then we get the trial. Doc, what do you think the trial was? Because I think we're all being misled a bit. I'm curious what everybody thinks this trial actually is.
So I was a little thrown off because my initial thought was that the trial was her proving her mother wrong and that she wouldn't take that magic. And then that's just what ends up happening, and then they leave. So I'm a little thrown on that.
Bobby?
Sorry, you're gonna have to repeat because I was just trying to find something here quickly. So,
okay.
Yeah,
what do you think the trial was? Because all the trials have been very forthright. They've told us throughout the episode what exactly the trial was.
Yeah.
There was no forthright thing, and I think that there's lots of room for interpretation. And I think there's going to be a lot of misinterpretation about what this trial might be. So what do you think it was?
That's a really good question that I don't know that I have an answer for, to be honest, perfectly honest with you, because I think that's the one thing that puzzled me about this one, because it was a lot more clear with the previous ones, and with this one, it's not that it was, again, it was great. The writing was great. I'm sure there'll be more to go down, but just the confrontation with Mama there and everything like that, I really don't see what the trial was exactly in this point. Be honest, I've got nothing for you on that.
Andre, do you got any idea?
My thoughts, again, they're probably completely wrong. Like, I think it was, again, it's about willpower, like Doc said, and maybe she couldn't, and at the last moment, and it reveals it when she leaves the room. I don't think she fully absorbed Alice's powers. So, because I think it was about willpower and the ability to stop. And when he yelled Nicholas Scratch, she cut it off, right? And it took us enough power from her that it did kill her. But when she goes out and she lights it up, it poofs away. So she doesn't have the power. So I feel like because she stopped and she had the willpower to stop taking it, that's what she technically passed the trial. But again, that's just my interpretation of it. I could be wrong, but she didn't absorb it all, so she can't keep the power. I mean, it's a weird one. That whole ending to the trial did confuse the hell out of me.
I'm wondering, because I have this idea, and I'm probably wrong, but I want to go with it anyways. What if it was supposed to be teamwork? What if the trial was supposed to be teamwork with them working together to do this, and they failed this trial? And that's one of the reasons why Alice may or may not be dead. Because I think none of this might have happened. I think this might all be some kind of a vision quest almost kind of thing. Like, it's there and it happened, but it didn't happen kind of thing. And nobody's really dead yet.
As we're talking this out and the whole message come across about punish Agatha, are they in maybe being punished for trying to cheat the road as well too? The fact that they actually flew above the road and it had to pull them back in, was this punishment to test their willingness to remain a coven and work together as a coven and stuff like that? This was an additional trial within the trials kind of thing, or a punishment trial.
Doc, you had a thought, I believe.
No, not really. I'm just a little confused by all of it, but I do think she absorbed the power. I think when she was looking at it outside, the look on her face was a look of relief, like, oh, I have some power again.
Yeah.
What surprised me though was that up until this point, all her stuff has been purple, and now they're using orange, which was like kind of exclusively used for the Doctor Strange style of magic. So that threw me off a little bit.
Well, but Alice's powers were orange, right? Because her power was orange, so you can see why she's manifesting orange power.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of bringing Evanora back into this. We all knew based on casting that she was going to be here at some point doing something. I thought it was going to be, we were going to get a further backstory for Agatha, maybe. Mm-hmm. We were going to find what led to her being put to execution by the coven. I love the idea that that's not what it was, that they use her as like this ghostly presence to continue haunting Agatha and, possessing Agatha, and the group having to work together to try to break that. There was a lot of fun in that. And I love the idea that this is the first, trial that we don't know, because it leaves so much up to the imagination, which is one of the best things about storytelling. Being able to guess what's going to happen next and then not know.
Yeah, because the death in this trial throws it into such disarray. Unlike Sharon's death, it made sense because they did complete the trial. They got what they needed to get done. She just didn't take a double dose, and that's what killed her. But it's just seeing how just the utter confusion of this one just perplexes the hell out of me, man. Like I have my theory, but I don't know. I am not banking on that. I have no idea, man. I'm hoping we get a little more explanation in the next episode, maybe, if it is like what this trial meant. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And of course, as we go through this, like we've all talked about, in part of this, Agatha takes the power. Well, while Evanora is possessing Agatha, Alice tries to use her magic to get rid of Evanora, which then allows Agatha to try to absorb the power, which ends up killing Alice like it killed her coven back in Salem in 16, I believe it's 92, 93, somewhere during there. I should know this, being from Boston, Salem being a stone's throw away. I should know when the Salem witch trials are, and I honestly don't. But I love that part. And then Agatha goes upstairs, and Teen's watching her, and Rio's watching her, and everybody else is, consoling, for a while, Teen, as he's being very protective over Alice's dead body, including yelling at Agatha for the first time in this entire show, which I loved. And then we get the confrontation on the outside. Doc, we'll go to you first on this one. What did you think about the ending of this show?
So, I'm obviously very confused about a few things, which is intentional on their part. So, if this is Wiccan, does he know that he's, like, technically Wanda's kid? Does he know what Agatha's connection to Wanda is? Did he know that he had powers already? Like, it's really hard to tell what's going on with this kid and whether he's like orchestrating a lot of this or what's going on. Or maybe this is another red herring, like the whole Quicksilver and WandaVision thing was.
Yeah. Obviously Doc wasn't here for last week. Let me see if I still have the picture or not. I don't. So the Funko spoilers that I keep talking about. Funko released 3 Funko Pops for this show. Agatha Harkness, Death, and Wiccan. Those are the 3 Funko Pops that we were given as choices to purchase. So that basically all but confirms that some version of Teen is going to be some version of Wiccan. Whether it be, and as Bobby has so graciously put up, we have Billy Maximoff from the WandaVision show on the left. We have the comic accurate Wiccan. This looks to be the Billy Kaplan version, if I'm correct, from the comics on the right-hand side. So when we go back to looking at his tire here, it's again very specific, the color coordination here, that they're telling us that he's Wiccan. But again, I love the idea that, like you said, he doesn't know anything. And I think that's the sigil. I think his mother put a sigil on him, and that's protecting everybody from knowing who he was. And with him accessing magic here, I'm wondering if the sigil's now broken. Because
that's what I was thinking.
Because Agatha specifically tells him on the outside, when they get on the outside, and he's yelling at her, "You're just like your mother."
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
And then he has blue magic.
Then he transforms, just like Doc's about to transform. There we go. Like magic.
Just like magic. But no, we now see the little bit of a crown form on Wiccan. He has the blue magic that Wiccan has in the comics. And he buries specifically, not everybody, but Agatha, Lila, and Jennifer in the mud. He leaves Rita alone.
Yeah, because we never even see her emerge. That's the thing. The other 2 emerged, so did Wanda and him, but I never saw her come out.
Maybe she's about to save the other witch who died.
Yeah, I was thinking that she was going to try to save Alan.
Because if she's Death, she kind of has that ability, right?
Yes, one of Death's abilities is
Also-
she can kill and resurrect anybody she wishes.
I have to throw in one quick thing before it leaves my mind.
Yep.
I hope to God there is a throwaway joke about Death having some kind of weird relationship with Thanos at some point. Because that was like in the comics, his whole purpose for wanting to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet was to impress her.
Yeah. Well, courting Death is one of the things that has been done numerous times in the comics. Deadpool did it at one point as well, which I think is really interesting.
Didn't he do it just to mess with Thanos too?
Yeah, he did it just to screw with Thanos, which is so great of Deadpool because it's so very Deadpool, especially a Rob Liefeld Deadpool. That is so very comic. To literally seduce Death just to piss off Thanos.
Yeah, just throw in a joke about a purple alien that she dated once or something like that, and I will be so happy.
Or she just makes a reference to this big ugly dude or something like that.
Yeah.
Just anything like throwaway in that point. Or if she makes in this will cross on the real makes a Josh Brolin joke. Or just make a comment about like Josh Brolin or something like who played him. Like something like that would hit me really well too.
I think there's room we've seen in footage, we've seen Agatha and team sitting in this like very tech-faced room with like a headset on team. And I'm like, if that's kind of like a Stranger Things vibe, there's a great Cable joke to make there that can make that Brolin-y joke.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's something in there that you can be like, no, this isn't on Cable. And you know, because like I said, for those people, like those kinds of jokes, those are for the if you know people. So if you make the Cable joke, you're essentially making the Thanos joke. But I agree. I'd love to see something silly and stupid about Thanos some point with Rio if she's really playing Death.
I feel she is. The Funko gave me that vibe that it's Rio.
Well, I mean, it looked exactly like her character, and she's been carrying around Death's dagger the entire episode.
It's true. It's true.
I'm just wondering, does Agatha know she's Death, or does she just know her as a witch?
I think she knows her as. So the thing that sold me on the Funko thing last week was the fact that when Rio was telling her Scar story in last week's episode, she talked about having to take something away from someone that she loved. And she hated doing it, and it hurt that person to no end. I think that as Death, she took Nicholas Scratch away from Agatha for Mephisto in return for the Darkhold. I think Agatha made a deal with Mephisto, not realizing that her side of the bargain would have to be her son Nicholas Scratch. And I think Rio was the one who had to come claim that. And in killing Nicholas Scratch brings him to Mephisto. Because as the devil, Mephisto would have reign on some of the dead.
Makes sense. And again, she as Death in the comics, she has the ability to control who lives and who dies. So again, that's why I feel like you said, she's still down. She was still down there. She could have saved Alice, so it's very possible. And then she can also play it off as she's an Earth Witch, right? Or she's supposed to be the Earth Witch. She can say she summoned something from the Earth to save her. She could play it that way if she wants to play it off that she's not Death until later on when we get a reveal. I feel like she could play it that way too.
I don't know enough about Earth magic to know what can happen, but I'm excited for the next 3 episodes. 4 episodes. 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's 4 episodes left.
3 more weeks, 4 more episodes.
Because Halloween is giving us a double dose.
Are they doing
double Halloween?
Double on the Wednesday?
Yeah, they're doing double on the Wednesday.
Okay, cool.
As our Halloween treat.
Well, originally they said it was going to be on the one was 8 on the 30th, and then we were supposed to get something else on the after. But then it came out like the week before the week of the show coming out. That episodes 8 and 9 it's essentially going to get bookend with a two-parter. So yeah.
Does anybody else have any lasting thoughts on this episode of Agatha All Along, or where what they think about what's going to happen going along?
I just thought it was really funny when Aubrey Plaza was the only one laughing when the brooms started to fall.
The witch's cackle?
That was the most Wicked Witch of the West laugh I've ever heard. It was so perfect.
And she's going to be Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz version, isn't she?
Yes, she
probably.
Is. Either her or Agatha. I can never tell because we haven't got a close enough picture of it. It's either her or Agatha that's in the.
I feel like it has to be her because she's the Green Earth Witch, or supposed to be. So I feel like her being the Earth Witch, with essentially green, technically, she has to be the Wicked Witch in this. It'd be
Bobby,
weird. It would be really weird though to see Agatha as Dorothy. That would be very weird.
Bobby, do you have any lasting thoughts before we get ready to start doing all these plugs?
Nothing that I can add. No, it was a great, fantastic episode. The whole show's been great. I'm looking forward to see where the rest of it goes. I mean, double dose the night before Halloween sounds perfect for a horror fan like myself. After tonight, this is easily my favorite Marvel TV series. Easily.
There we go. Andre.
Again, I just think it was a really fun episode that, again, while liking episode 4 just a little bit more with the song and everything in it, and I love to see as Bobby pointed out last week when we talked about it, I went back and watched the episode again and looked for all the reference to the music stuff that he had mentioned, and I was looking like, oh, okay, there it is. But I really like this. I just love the vibe of the old Sleepaway Camp movie horror flick. I remember watching those random teen movies when I was a kid, and a young adult, just watching and just seeing those campy stuff and seeing it all here and just going, this is awesome. And just that reveal at the end was just watching the crown form. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I've been thoroughly loving everything that this show has done. It is another big hit. But again, like Andre said earlier, me and Andre have really kind of loved pretty much everything that's come out of the Marvel television, Marvel Disney Plus shows. I've had a ball with these.
Even Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
We love Secret Invasion. I'll be honest. I got a kick out of everything in Secret Invasion. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Wow.
I'll admit, there's problems with it.
Yeah.
I have issues with stuff that happened in that series, but I still overall enjoy it because I love Sam Jackson. I love Don Cheadle. I love the acting. I love just everybody doing such a great job in that. I don't know. We both enjoyed it. So
they did Maria Hill dirty in that. That's all.
100%. 100%.
It did indeed.
You guys are definitely bigger diehards than I am. I'll admit, I'll watch everything that comes out Marvel, but I'm not always as excited and enthused as by all of it that you guys are. But this one's a home run. And again, with the fact that, like you mentioned earlier, Deadpool and Wolverine doing so well, this is what follows it. Kudos to Marvel, because again, this is an upswing, a massive upswing for them once again, where suddenly I'm going, all right, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. I'm actually excited again for the cinematic universe.
You know what else?
Go ahead, Doc. No,
I was just going to say, I'm glad they're leaning into a little bit of camp. Like Werewolf by Night was one of my favorite things that they did. And just, I think one of the keys here is WandaVision is my favorite Marvel TV show. Yeah. And I think this is a great follow-up, but other than Agatha, the thing that connects them is Jack Schaefer. And she has done an incredible job basically just not only channeling the spooky stuff, but throwing in all the references that everybody's going to like without it feeling overly forced. Mm-hmm. So I really hope Marvel does more with her, because she clearly has a knack for taking these kind of smaller stories, I think, and making them feel really important and giving them a really interesting vibe. Because WandaVision was a very small story too. It had nothing to do with the end of the universe and all that. It was just about this tiny little town that she was keeping hostage. This is just about a group of witches doing their thing. So yeah, I think she is somebody that they need to do more with. And if it's not Sam Raimi doing the next Doctor Strange, give it to her. Like, she clearly has a handle on all the spooky, scary stuff, and that works great with all the magic that he is doing.
That's a great idea.
I was going to say, Jack Schaefer was asked about something as the show was about to be coming out. Marvel apparently started making the rounds of putting out paperwork for a potential Scarlet Witch movie. Jack Schaefer has been everybody's been asking Jack Schaefer about it because it seems like she's going to be the one telling that story. So it sounds like we're getting a Scarlet Witch movie coming out, and it sounds like Jack Schaefer is going to be in charge of the project.
I really hope so, because she's really great at blending this like nostalgia with comedy with actual drama. Like, Catherine Hahn is acting her ass off in this show.
Mm-hmm.
As she does in everything. Let's be honest. That woman's incredible. Her character on Parks and Recreation is one of my favorite television characters of all.
Oh my god! Oh, dude, I literally
Jen
just
Barkley.
finished my my yearly watch through of that show, and she, like, her as the campaign director.
Jen Barkley. Yeah,
oh, so good.
she's so great.
So good in everything.
Yeah, but remember, this is part 2 of 3 because we were told by Marvel execs, I believe it was Brad Winterbaum on the Marvel podcast, said that this is the second of 3 stories. It's WandaVision ties into Agatha All Along, which will tie into the Vision series that we're still getting in the future.
Vision Quest.
It was called Vision Quest.
I know.
It'll apparently no longer be called the Vision Quest, but
it should be.
That is a third.
When we eventually review that, we have to call it Vision Quest when we're doing the show. We have to. I'm going to.
That'll be the name of our review show for it. Vision
Quest. Yeah.
But thank you to everyone who's joined us, and make sure you go ahead and check out our great friends and everything they've got going on. And starting with Doc. Doc, tell us where we can find you. I have some links put down, but if there's anything else that you want to shout out, any projects you're working on or things that are coming out with Wrestle Dream, I'm sure there's something coming up in the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, I interviewed Ricochet and Ospreay in the past couple of weeks. Those are both up on Bleacher Report, which is where all my work is. The only social media platform I really put any effort into is Twitter, so that's BR_doctor. So yeah, don't bother trying to find me on any of the other ones because you're going to be disappointed at the lack of content.
Hey, your cooking content is top notch. Let me just say.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I put more effort into my food than I do my social media.
And of course, if you want to find everything that he's working on, go to linktr.ee/Doc Chris Mueller. I believe it's Mueller, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, it's either Mueller or Mueller, and I never know which one, and I always just...
No, that idiot FBI guy got everybody pronouncing it wrong again. Because he spells it the same way, but he says Mueller, and it's like, all right.
You're like, that's not how it works.
So he does the X-Files show. Okay.
It took Rob Wilkins like 5 or 6 times me coming on his show before he finally got it right.
That's great. We love Rob.
I love Rob. He's great.
Bobby, what do you got coming up this week with Papa Smokes tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, Ring Respect Radio, we are going to be talking about the Canadian Death Tours, or the Ice Roads of Canada, that they go and wrestlers go and do as part of getting to the communities that don't get that level of entertainment all the time. So we're going to be reviewing the documentary that came out about it and talking a little bit about that tour as well. Of course, there is going to be a post show here on the channel this Saturday night for AEW's Wrestle Dream. It is a stacked card in the house there for that post show, so you're going to want to tune in for that. And then, of course, this Sunday, Point of View continues on with the NFL predictions week. Ed, we slipped behind just a touch, but we're still ahead. We're still ahead of STG and crew, so it's all good.
You know what it is? We're willing to take a risk.
Yeah.
While Mark is too chicken shit.
He's towing that line. He's just towing that line.
Hey, I'll give all respect to STG in my absence. He took some risks. They didn't pay off, but he took some risks. I got to give that guy props for that. 100% props.
And I believe that post show currently right now for Wrestle Dream includes yourself, Lauren Goodnight, Mel Ball Collins, and Kimmy Sokol.
Yes,
with a potential run-in from a live Wrestle Dream media scrum personality.
Yeah, from Auntie Collins live on location might be doing a run-in on that one. So
yeah, so whole bunch of good stuff coming. So make sure that you're following our local establishment and all of these fine socials. Andre, we're going to leave the our local establishment socials up while you tell everybody what you've got coming up this week because you've got a busy week.
Oh man, I was supposed to be. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. I was supposed to be recording with my partner Melba for my channel, Andre Melba Wrestling Talk. But yeah, we'll be having Japanese wrestling update coming out this Friday. It will be a pre-recorded show because myself and Melba will be at the RCW event that night here in Edmonton, Alberta. So come check that out if you're in the Edmonton area. Come check out some RCW with us. On my channel, we've got the Stardom review coming out this Friday because we're going to be recording it tomorrow night. So that'll be coming out Friday, talking the Nagoya Golden fight from this past weekend. Some few big news items coming out of that show. So tune in to that show over on Andre Melville Wrestling Talk. But I got to pop. Bobby forgot something on his schedule for this Saturday in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Mark Talks Wrestling. He'll be interviewing our boy Mark.
Oops.
Nobody needs to
interviewing our
watch
boy
that.
Mark
It's
Talks
fine.
Wrestling this Saturday. I think is it at 2 or 3?
I think
or
5 Eastern, so 5 Eastern, I believe. Yeah.
Thinking my time, but yeah, 5 Eastern. So check that out. I had to plug it.
It's 3 hour time on, right? 3 hour time.
Mark's my
Nobody
boy.
needs to
I had to give him a plug somehow on this show.
Nobody needs to watch that garbage.
There's all sorts of stuff going on. I tend to forget.
We're not going to talk about that. You can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on the Twitch, twitch.tv/edfries2002. This week is a relatively easy week. We got Point of View coming up on Sunday, where me and Bobby are going to try to pass Mark so that make sure that Mark has to get himself doused in some ice cold water in the middle of February. That's always a fun idea. I'll be back next Tuesday night as we are on the road to Halloween Havoc. Big news coming out of last week's show that Stephanie Vacour debuted. So finally in the flesh, in person, she was there to help Julia fend off Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. So sounds like we're getting some form of those four over at Halloween Havoc. So we're on that road. So make sure you come check out me and Astrid every Tuesday night as we talk all things NXT on the CW network. It's going to be a fun time. Doc, I want to thank you very much for coming and joining us. We greatly appreciate it. This was a bunch of fun. And again, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and follow him at BR_Doctor or at LINKTR.ee/Doc Chris Mueller.
Mueller.
Mueller, damn it!
We just talked about this.
We did just talk about this. I have so much.
Praising you for saying it right.
By the way, if anybody does still care, Ashford does still currently have power. Everybody is safe, so
that's what matters. That's what really matters.
Continue staying safe.
It really does. Hopefully, everybody else in Florida is staying safe. Hopefully, everybody else there that we know and that we don't know and that is just out there in the community is keeping safe, staying safe, and hopefully they can get the resources down there once the storm has passed. But for myself, for Andre C., for our two wonderful guests, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.